Hey there, guys. It's Keegan. Welcome to Wednesday's Pick a Deck reading. Every Wednesday, I post a Pick a Deck reading here on the channel. There is a schedule here to the channel. It's a Monday through Friday channel. Mondays, I post a love reading. Tuesdays are related to your work and career. Wednesdays, as I mentioned, Pick a Deck. Thursday, I do reading specific to spirit messages. And every Friday, I do a sign specific reading, taking a look at the week ahead. The Friday readings are the only readings that I do that are sign specific. Friday readings are always time stamped, so you can jump right into your sun sign and take a look at the week that's approaching you, see what it has in store. As I mentioned, today is a pick a deck. It's literally a pick a deck. So I have 3 decks here. I will utilize each of these decks to do 3 separate mini readings. I don't post long, lengthy readings because I don't want to take up that much time in your life. I want to try to get things to you as quickly as possible in a manner that works and that gives you the messages that you need. I don't think that there's any need for them to be super lengthy. I do just want to say here at the beginning, if you have any feedback for me in terms of these readings, if you have specific requests of what I might take a look at for any of the themes for any of the days, let me know in the comments what you guys want. I love getting feedback from people, and I do listen to feedback, but don't ask me to make them longer because my attention span just does not work for it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and allow you to be in the process of tuning into which of these decks feels that it is best for you. I know that people have different ways that they like to pick the deck. So for those of you who just want to use your own intuition without anything else, please take a moment to look at the decks, deck 1, deck 2, and deck 3. See if any of these decks are calling to you. Now, for pick a deck readings, you can watch one. You can choose to watch all 3. If you're going to watch more than one, be sure that you're not cheating yourself and saying, well, that didn't go how I wanted it to, so I'm going to see what he says on 3. Go ahead now, if you're going to watch more than one, and assign what it is that you're wanting to get insight into. And what I mean by that is sometimes you might want to have insight into a friendship. Sometimes you might want to know what's happening in terms of your romantic relationship, your romantic life. Sometimes you might want to ask a very specific question in terms of, should you make a decision? Should you let something go? Should you pursue something? So you can use a deck for each of those scenarios if you want to hang out for the full length of the video. But go ahead and give some thought to what it is that you're wanting to ask, what it is that you're wanting to know, and get clarity about which of the decks feels like it's giving you that nudge that it might be for you. Now, for those of you who like to select based on a visual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an actual visual on top of each of these decks, and I'm just going to use my own intuition when I do editing to pick what's going to go there. The image might not necessarily be giving you any insight into what that reading is going to hold, but it gives you a visual to focus in on, again, for deck 1, deck 2, and deck 3. So you can have an additional layer of a visual just to focus your mind on, to see if any of those images seem like they might be calling to you more than others. And then lastly, what I'll do for those of you who prefer to make your decisions based on your hearing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little snippet of a sound on top of each of these again in just a moment. And you can utilize the visual and the sound, or just focus in on the sound as you hear my voice. So this will be the sound for deck 1. The sound for deck 2. And then the sound for deck 3. Okay, so hopefully at this point you know for sure which deck you're going to watch, or you've assigned specific questions for each of the decks that you're going to watch. I am going to go ahead and move stack 3 and deck 2 out of the way. We're going to dive right into this first reading. I did pre-shuffle these cards before hitting record. I'm not going to do a ton of shuffling. What I am going to do is I'm going to break these out into some groups here. Okay, so we're going to do 8 cards. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick this up, do a little blind cut here. This card, be card 1. I'm going to repeat that 8 times, guys. Bear with me. There's your second card. There's your third, fourth. There's your fifth card, sixth. I'm going to take the top card from this deck. And then there's your eighth card. I'll keep this deck close by in case I need to do any clarifying on anything. Usually my intuition will help me work out anything that seems a little bit confusing, but I do have the deck there in case I want to grab it. And what I'm going to do here for you guys is I'm going to go ahead and turn all these cards over all at once, because what I like to do for my pick-a-deck readings is I like to see everything that came out so that I can get a comprehensive view of the cards, and then I can walk you through what's happening, okay? So there's no spread here. These cards don't have any specific placement meaning or anything like that. I know in some of my readings, I always show you a spread, not for the pick of cards, okay? So top row here, we have the Six of Coins reversed, the Eight of Wands upright, the Queen of Wands upright. We have the Hermit showing up upright. Then we have the Chariot, which is reversed. The Three of Cups upright. We have the Page of Coins, which is upright. And then the last card coming out here, we have the Six of Wands reversed. I want to tell you the card that kind of jumped out at me more so than, there are three cards that kind of jumped out to me more so than anything else as I was looking at them. And that's the Eight of Wands, the Hermit, and then this Chariot, which is reversed. I'm going to start by talking about them because that's what feels like is pulling me in the most. The Eight of Wands, if you know tarot, you understand why the Eight of Wands is kind of grabbing my attention first. And that's because when this card shows up, and especially when it says upright placement, this just means like really fast change. It's about quickness, speed, action being taken, movement happening. And so for those of you who picked this first stack, I feel like you're either in the middle of that right now. Things are really happening fast. Things are really changing quickly and you're trying to keep up, or you've just exited out of that. Okay. You've just gotten to a point where you're like, whoa, what was that? Okay. So those are the people that I'm tuning into. The reason I said the Hermit card was the next card that really kind of jumped out at me is because, the Hermit card is almost always associated with kind of like a spiritual journey, spiritual lesson, spiritual growth. And so what's interesting to me here with this group is I feel like something has propelled you into, I don't even want to say like a spiritual crisis. Like, I don't want to use that word, but it might feel like that to you. It might feel like um, a bit of a crisis. And I'm saying that because of the Chariot, which was the third card that I said kind of really jumped out at me energetically. Um, two major arcana cards here, they're gonna stand out, but let me talk about this, okay? Because I think I need to explain what I got from this for this to make sense to you. So the Chariot, when it's reversed, represents a place where we might not necessarily feel like we have a direction. We might feel like we're in a place where we're going to give up on something, not putting more effort into it. We could be in a space where we're maybe being a little bit careless with how we're making decisions, how we're thinking things through. There's also this thing with the Chariot, and again, this is kind of like my intuition that's coming in here, but it just feels like there's this energy of there has to be something better. There has to be something else. There has to be another way of doing this. There has to be some way of making this work. And it's almost like this longing energy without having any sort of actual plan in place. Okay. So if I look at those three cards and I sort of pick them out of this group and tune into them, I feel like something happened. This Eight of Wands feels like it was something that happened, something that came in quick, something that really kind of forced you into this hermit energy of being willing to try to have some level of, like, there, it feels like you were forced to be willing to tune inward. You were forced to be willing to begin the process of doing some personal investigation, of exploring yourself a little bit more. And the reason that you were willing to even do it, because I don't think that you're someone who likes being forced. You're not someone that likes kind of having like, a finger pushed on to make things like go the way that somebody wants it, right? Um, I don't know if that analogy made sense. Like, you like putting your finger on the scale to like tip it in one direction or the other. You don't like when that happens, but that's what the universe did to you. The universe was like, you know what? I have to step in here because you're not going to do it on your own. You're not going to do it on your own. I'm going to make this happen. It's going to force you to deal with this. And the reason that you're willing to deal with it is because you're tired of being in a place where you don't know what you need to do. You're tired of feeling like life is directionless. You're tired of feeling like you're making careless choices and that you don't feel like you have the ability to really like motivate yourself or to keep yourself on track, and it's frustrating for you, super frustrating for you. I want to jump up here to the Six of Coins. It's the next card that's kind of pulling my attention. This card's is shown up here reversed, and so this is in a place where it's kind of like one-sidedness, being indebted to someone, situations where there's strings attached to something, really being a place of struggle. Okay, so again, I've kind of already tapped into that. I've kind of already talked about it, but this is that next card that's pulling my focus, because I think it's giving me a little bit of clarity in terms of what it is that you've been dealing with. Um, this card, the Six of Coins, is one of my favorite cards when it's upright, because it's in a place where it's all about generosity and helping, right? Whether you're helping someone, you're allowing people to help you, but it's equal, right? So what you're putting into a situation, what you're getting out of it, is balanced. Okay, it's a place where there's more than enough, right? There's more than enough, and so what you need, you can ask for, and what other people need, they can ask for, and no one's left out. When this card's reversed, it's just the opposite of that, really. Okay, it's every man for himself. There's a lot of what is the word I'm looking for? Like greeting, no, greediness, stinginess, right? It's like, um, the fact of the matter is, right, there's more than enough. There's more than enough, but it's being controlled in some way. It's being, um, like someone's possessing it, someone's holding on to it, and they're not willing to share. Okay. The Six of Coins sitting right before that eight, this could be very related to what that change was, right? You could have been in a situation where, and again, this is a general reading, right? So however this resonates with you, take it that way. Um, but this could be something, with it being a coin, right? It's being a pentacle, being related to that. This could be a situation where, I'm going to give an analogy. Okay. So this might be specific for some of you because I'm tuning into you, but if this isn't what it was for you, you have something that's similar. Okay. So imagine that that the company that you work for had an amazing year, made tons of profits, right? And then you were told there's not going to be a raise this year. Okay. It's that sort of thing where the truth, and someone is they're hoarding, they're holding out, they're being stingy with something. Okay. If it's a lot, if this has been resonating with you for love, they want me to say this. This is someone saying to you, like, I don't want to settle down. I don't want to settle down. I don't want anything serious. And then they suddenly stop like casually hanging out with you because they start dating someone else. Okay. Something jarred you related to knowing that there was the potential for something to be fair, something to be give and take, something to be balanced, and it not being. And that jarred you. That was a catalyst into the Eight of Wands. Okay. So let's take a look at this Queen of Wands, which is sitting in the middle up here in terms of all this energy. Um, I feel like this is representative of you, to be honest, the person listening to me. Don't get hung up on gender. If you're a guy, it's about what the card represents. Okay. The reason I say this feels like it's you is because the Queen of Wands is very, very, very confident, very sure of themselves. They are perfectly comfortable having attention on them. They are very, what's the word I want to use here? Like the word that's coming to my mind is sassy. Uh, again, like it's not the right word though. Like it's fiery, right? Wands are associated with fire, so it's sort of like fiery, feisty. That's what it is. Like you're willing to kind of like spar. You're willing to go in. You're not intimidated by conflict. You're not intimidated to confront something because you're very sure of yourself. And it's interesting because if you feel like you're in a place where you aren't sure how to move forward, you're not sure what it is that you can actually do, right? This chariot reversed, right? You're not quite sure what it is you can make happen. And you're to a point where the person listening to me, are thinking, maybe I need to just give up on this. Maybe I don't need to put any more effort into this. And that's what's coming out of the spiritual aspect of it, right? Like, this card is not necessarily like the greatest card, right? The chariot, in terms of like tarot, like it's better, quote unquote, better when it's upright, because that means like you have confidence, you have determination, you know what you're doing, you're taking action, you're being very courageous when it's upright. But I feel like you don't think you can do that in this situation, right? Because this is you. The Queen of Wands is not going to exist in this, not for long, right? Because this energy is action energy. The Queen of Wands upright is action. It's doing. It's being out there. It's very often this card is social, like a socializing sort of card. Someone who's out there making the connection, socializing, networking, being seen, wanting to be engaged, wanting to have action, wanting to do. So this makes a lot of sense. If someone was like, you know what, you know what you deserve, I know what you deserve, I'm not going to give it to you, and I'm going to pretend like I can't, even though you know I can. That was the final straw. It pushed you into this, right? Because it doesn't align. It pushed you into a spiritual crisis where you realized how stuck you were, how you weren't quite sure what to do, asking yourself, there has to be a better way of doing this. There has to be something else that I can do. So then we're left with these three cards down here, okay? The only cards I haven't really talked about. Three of Cups, I'm just going to read these left to right. I feel like a lot of the energy here has been covered, but I do just want to talk about these cards because um, I think these cards are just giving me a little bit more insight to the person listening to me. Okay, Three of Cups is really about friendships, celebration, being in a place where you feel like you have your people, you found your tribe, you have that support structure in place, you know who you can turn to, and you trust in it. Okay, and I think this is just saying, like, even though this is pretty heavy, this is a pretty heavy situation, right? Especially with the Hermit card showing up here. It's heavy, but you're chilling in a way because you know you have people around you who can support you. One of the things that I will say here, you know, well, this is tough because I want to say what I want to say, but I feel like these cards are related to it. Here's what I'll say. For me, uh, one of the hardest things for me personally in my life was uh, my own spiritual journey, was my own I had a really life altering experience, a dark night of the soul, the whole thing, right? And it was very, very hard. It was a very hard place for me to exist in. But what made it bearable, what made me be able to actually like survive it and get through it, is that I had people who had been through it. I had people who were spiritual people. My friend group, I could talk to them about things. I could really open up and I could be honest about it, right? And so it made the whole process easier because I had people who really understood me. And I feel like you have that. You know that you have people in your life that you can turn to. And so you're kind of like you're going to be fine, and you know that. Like, you know you're going to be fine. This Page of Coins sitting here, the reason I said like I almost want to talk about it first is because of what I just said. You know you're going to be fine because the Page of Coins is about you know whatever you want, you're going to get. You're ambitious. You're going to put in the work that you need to do. The Page of Coins is usually associated with like a new job or getting some sort of, reward or raise that's associated with the job that you're at, having some sort of leveling up that's occurring. Good news coming through, money coming in. And so you're not worried about this. Like you're not worried or concerned. Again, like this feels kind of like it's associated with, work stuff, but I think this is just life in general, right? Because if it's not a new job, it's a new relationship. If it's not a promotion, then it's that relationship going to the next level with like you know, a proposal or something. You know that in the end, this is going to work out in your favor and you're not really all that concerned about it. Like you're not really all that worried about it. The Six of Wands here at the end, I kind of like that this card is here because this card is really about knowing when to walk away, knowing when something is done. The Six of Wands is very often associated with some sort of failure, some sort of breaking down, which I think is here with the Six of Coins that I talked about. Um, but it's about not staying in it, right? Being able to look at it and say, well, that didn't work. That wasn't what was supposed to be mine. There's something better waiting for me. I know I'm going to be fine with this. I know I'm going to figure it out. I know who I am as a person. I know what my worth is. So this was eye-opening. This was jarring. This was something that I didn't really expect to happen. But I'm confident in who I am. I know who I'm surrounded with. I know I can handle this. I know it's going to work out in my favor. And I know when to walk away. I know when something is done. I know when to give up. Okay. So if this resonated, please let me know in the comments. I feel good about you. I don't have any concern here in terms of like, any of this. I think that, again, like I said, for most of you, I think you're already in it. For some of you, you're going through that jarring realization right now. And I hope that reading just made you feel like, okay, well, it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. Okay. Hello, group 2. Welcome to your reading. I am going to give this deck a couple of cuts. I'm going to turn some of these, mix some of these up. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go top, bottom. I'm going to do 6 cards for you guys. So 1 off the bottom, off the top. Ooh, that card totally flipped and I pushed it back. I don't know if I pushed it back in the same direction because I wasn't looking. So top, bottom, top, bottom, top, and bottom. All right, group 2, let's see what's going on with you guys. I'm going to do the same thing I did for group 1. I'm going to turn all the cards over. I want you to just be able to see everything. We have the 10 of Pentacles reversed. We have the 6 of Wands, which is reversed. The Ace of Wands showing up upright. 8 of Swords upright. We have the Hierophant reversed. And then the last card here, we have the Page of Cups coming out reversed. I'm actually going to start with the Hierophant. That's the card that really jumped out to me the most energetically in terms of my intuition and just feeling the energy of the card. When the Hierophant is reversed, the easiest way of describing what this card is you're not going to do what you're told to do. You're not going to stick with the way things have always been done. You're someone who has you don't like people telling you what to do. You don't like having to answer to somebody else. You are unique and you're original in how you think and how you exist in this world. And naturally, you're going to be someone who rebels against anything that kind of like holds you back. Okay. It's interesting. I'm going to jump right up here to the Six of Wands because, the Six of Wands reverse, it came out in the first group as well. And I'm feeling the same sort of energy with this as I felt in that first group, which is, the Six of Wands, when it's reversed, it's not that great, right? Because it doesn't mean that we had success. It doesn't mean that things went the way that we wanted it to. It doesn't mean we're getting, recognition for a job well done, like this card means when it's upright. It means something didn't work. It means we failed at something or something failed us, right? Something didn't go the way that we wanted it to go. But the energy of this is it's good because you're saying, all right, well, then let's be done with that. Like it didn't work. So let's regroup. Let's figure things out. And I think because of these 2 cards in the middle, this is what's really giving me the most energy for you guys. the people who are listening to me, because you aren't tied to traditional notions of what success looks like. You're not tied to traditional notions of what needs to happen in a relationship, or that you even need to be in a relationship. Okay, I'm going to jump over here to this Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles represents instability. It's very often associated with conflicts within a family setting. Okay, it's very often associated with uh, we'll say like financial problems. Okay, um, I think you've dealt with that a lot. And I feel like that's something that it's either been like a lifelong thing, like you've always struggled with not quite being able to like make ends meet, not quite being able to make um like what I'm hearing in my head is not being able to make a home. You've not been able to make a home. And so, for some of you, you might have not had a stable home life growing up, and that's continued into adulthood. For others of you, what I'm getting, what's coming through more so than anything is this financial instability leading to an inability to have something that feels like it's a stable home life. Okay. A group of you are in a place right now where you're realizing a couple of things. And it might be the majority of you, honestly, because of these two cards. So, Ace of Wands sitting here, and then this Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, I think most people who watch tarot are familiar with this card, because this is the card where, like, you're in your head, you're trapping yourself through your own mental gymnastics, your own mental games. Usually, this card is, there's someone standing. I'll show this a little bit closer, because this is kind of the same illustration, right? Like, surrounded by swords, feeling like you're trapped, but it's like you can get out, right? This is really a space. What I love about this card is the illustration. This butterfly is beginning to emerge out of the cocoon. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you look here, you have this butterfly, you look here, this butterfly is flying out. Butterflies might be significant to the people who are watching, with two of them showing up. Um, you're realizing here, Ace of Wands, okay, inspiration, having some sort of like desire, having some sort of urge to create something new, being pulled into to thinking about this. These cards feel like they're telling me a story of someone who's realizing finally the role that they play in keeping themselves attached to old patterns. And the thing that's actually allowing you to think about that, and I just want to mention here with this Page of Cups that's sitting over here reversed. Um, the Page of Cups, describing the Page of Cups to somebody, I would say, well, the Page of Cups is kind of immature. They're usually very dependent on people. They're highly sensitive. They're very emotional. They can be, a bit of a brat. Usually with the Page of Cups, if I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt, they're misunderstood. They're judged maybe a little bit too harshly because of how they're viewed by other people, especially with a Hierophant sitting here. If you're someone who doesn't like to follow rules, you don't like being told what to do, it makes sense why people would see you that way. But here's how I'm going to sum up this reading, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about is just going to be my intuition coming through. There's lots of messages that are coming through here, and I've covered all the cards, so you know what cards are down the table. What I feel from you is that you've kind of been misunderstood your whole life. And the reason that you've been misunderstood is because you're not willing to kind of bend and mold yourself into what people expect of you. You're not willing to change who you know you are at your core. But the messaging that you've received and the life that you have, the instability that's existed in your life, it's put you into a situation where you've had to undo, you've had to unravel a lot of your own thought process about what you can and can't have, what you are and are not capable of. So this feels very much like someone who, the term black sheep is coming to mind. You haven't found your place. You haven't found where you fit. And you've been unwilling to settle. You've been utterly unwilling to settle because you know that there are other people who think and feel the same way that you do. But it's been a lot because you feel like, when do I get to have that? When do I get to find my people? When do I get to find my tribe? When do I get to build the life that I want? When do I really get to have success? When do I get to have stability? That's what's coming through energetically, is this question of, when is it my turn? And the key here, I think, for you guys is actually the combination of these two, right? So the Ace of Wands, having courage to be who you are, trying your best to do what you need to do to stay positive about things, really trying to lean into your intuition and find out, like, listen for that spark of inspiration about what it is that you need to do, what it is that you're supposed to contribute, what it is that you're supposed to create, and do it in your own way. Rebel against everything that people tell you in terms of what you can and can't accomplish, and prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Show them what you're capable of. Show them what you're able to accomplish. Show them how hard you can work. Show them how your way is far superior to just going about things the way that they've always been done. And realize that the only person who can really block you, the only person who can really get in your way, is yourself. Because I think what's happened here for you is, this is who you are. You know that the Hierophant reverse, that rebel energy, is who you truly are. But again, you've had lots of messaging about that and what that means, and judgment on that behavior. And so it's very easy for you to get in your head and start repeating all of those things that other people have said to you about you. All that negative stuff that you've heard from other people. It's easy for you to fall into that. And so you have to be able to shift yourself out of that into this. Shift yourself out of the negative thinking into the positive thinking. If you can do that, and you can embrace this feeling of like, I know that I'm different. I know that I think different, but I know that that's how I'm supposed to be in this world. I know I have to express myself in this way. I know that I have to kind of go against what everyone else is doing. I know that I have to, you have to prove yourself. Hold on. I want to sit with this message coming through, because I think this is really important. You have to work harder to prove yourself, because you're not normal. You're not typical. You're not average. You're not traditional. When you come out into the world and say, all of this is wrong and this needs to be done differently, and I'm going to figure out how to fix it. This stuff, right? The instability, this being misunderstood, being labeled as being bratty and immature, being too sensitive, getting in your head, all those things it starts to like attack you, because you've heard so much of it. You've heard so much of that messaging in your life, and it just starts to play in your head like chatter. This is the key. This Ace of Wands is the key. You have to be courageous enough to be bold with this energy, and to tell people, I don't care what you think I need to do. I'm going to do what I know I need to do. I don't care how it's always been done. I'm going to show you why this new way is better. Really embrace that. If you can find that place where you're confident in this, and you're using your intuition to have that inspiration hit you about what it is you need to do, all this other stuff starts to fall away, or these cards start to flip, where you do have success. You do have big, public successes. You do get, you have victory over things that have been challenging for you. You flip this, and suddenly, instead of having all this instability and not being able to feel like you can make a home, having money issues, suddenly you have more than you need, and your life feels much more light. It doesn't feel like you're in survival as much. It feels like you have space to breathe, and that you can start to create a life that is based on something beyond surviving it. Right? But the only way you do that is if you really embrace this. That's why this card jumped out to me so much at the beginning with you guys, because that's who you are. That's the essence of you. You're not supposed to blend in. You're not supposed to do things the way everyone else does them. You're not supposed to think the way that everyone else does. You're not supposed to be part of the mainstream. You're not supposed to be part of the majority. You're always supposed to be part of that outside group, because that outside group, those are the free thinkers. Those are the people who are pushing on the edges to try to make change happen. So embrace that, run with that. That's where your strength exists. So, group 2, love this reading. I hope that you did as well. Please let me know in the comments. Say hi, group 2. Let me know who you are. We'd love to say hello to you there. Hi there, group 3. So I pre-shuffled all the decks. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. What I've been doing is just kind of doing some cuts, mixing these cards up, and then deciding intuitively what feels like I'm supposed to do for each group. I've seen the number 5, so I'm going to go with 5. I'm going to do blind cuts here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, I'll keep this deck close in case I want to pull any other cards. Group 3, let's see what we have here. I'm going to turn all the cards over so I can see exactly what we have. 5 of Pentacles reversed. We have the 2 of Wands upright. Page of Cups reversed. We have Justice showing up here upright. And then we have the Devil card. Big energy with these 2 cards at the end. I'm going to talk about them last. But big energy here. That's a big thing. All right, I'm just going to talk about these 3 cards up here at the top. I'm going to start with the middle card because I think these 2 cards on the side are related to it. So we have the 2 of Wands. The 2 of Wands showing up here. It's upright. So this is really about making plans, making a choice, setting an intention, and then kind of being in a place where you're waiting to see what happens. You're waiting to see, what's going to happen as a result of what you've decided. Okay. What is that decision about? Well, I think it's about these 2 cards on the side. So start here. We have the 5 of Coins, which is showing up here reversed. Okay. 5 of Coins is actually a pretty decent card to be reversed because it represents a place where, we've dealt with some stuff. We've dealt with some stuff. We really have dealt with some stuff, but we're on the other side of it. We're starting to recover. We're starting to feel a little bit of hope coming in. This could be representative of, newness. Okay, so very often new job or new home is associated because it's Pentacles, but this could be, some sort of new direction in life. This could be some sort of new relationship, something new that's coming in, following a period of time that's been very hard, following a period of time that might have felt very isolating, following a period of time where maybe your health was a concern, your money was a concern, just had a lot of worry and doubt, but you're on the other side of that now, and you're trying to figure things out, and you're plotting a course towards something new. Then we have this Page of Cups, okay? Page of Cups, when it's reversed, represents someone who is very kind of immature, someone who is, they might be very like codependent, very, needy, someone who is very sensitive, hypersensitive. The Page of Cups just represents a very immature sort of love or an immature sort of romance. So what I feel like here, based on these cards and then these 2 big power cards down here, I think for a lot of you, you're in a situation, and I'm gonna say most of you probably are dealing with this as a romantic relationship. If you're not dealing with romance and it's a friend or family member or job, I'm still gonna talk about what's going on here, but I'm sensing a lot, mostly because of this stuff of relationship. What this feels like here at the top and moving, kind of talking about justice a little bit, is you finally realized what you're worth. You finally realized what you deserve. You finally realized that you were kind of settling for someone or something that was kind of beneath you, just to be blunt. And you're in a period of time where you're just kind of waiting to see what happens. And I want to tell you what's coming through for me just energetically. I'm not talking about cards right now. I'm just telling you what's coming through intuitively for me. This feels like someone who walked away from something, and In walking away, they kind of said, okay, this is either going to be the end, or they're going to come up to my level. So this could be a situation where you walked away from a job or a career, walked away from a relationship, cut ties with a family member, again, like whatever is resonating with you. But you didn't walk away because you didn't care, and you didn't walk away because you wanted to give up. You walked away because you realized your needs weren't being met. Okay, and we're gonna move into this justice card. Justice, when it shows up upright, it's usually associated with some sort of truth being revealed, some sort of truth coming out, or some sort of truth being realized. I already talked about that. There's clarity associated with this, but the thing about the justice card that's screaming more so than anything else is it has to feel fair. It's got to be fair. And this wasn't fair. So if it's not fair, I'm willing to walk away. If you can make it fair, if you can kind of come up to my level, we can talk. I'm in a holding pattern. I'm waiting to see. The person listening to me, I'm waiting to see. But I'm not going to put up with immaturity. I'm not going to put up with, any of that stuff. I'm not going to go back to where I was because I've closed that out. I'm not going to go back to being, anxious and worried and feeling like, everything was falling apart. I'm not going back to that. I've moved on from it. So we can't go back, and you can't stay the way that you were. I'm going to wait and see, but I know what's fair. I know what I deserve. I know the truth of the situation now. Next to this, you have the Devil card. I'm so happy that this card was reversed, because when this card is reversed, it's about walking away from things that aren't good for us. It's about dealing with the darkness that we have to deal with, dealing with our shadow side, dealing with trauma, right? Dealing with things that are holding us back, really being willing to dive into it. What happened here, I feel, for you, is that when you realized what you deserved, when you realized what you were worth, when you realized that you were settling kind of below, immediately you ask yourself, why did I do that? Why was I willing to settle for that? Why was I stuck in that? You're here, right? So this is a situation where I feel like, again, I'm really picking up that this is about a relationship. Whatever type of relationship you want it to be. Professional relationship, romantic, platonic, right? Someone wasn't coming up to where you were giving so much more. You were offering so much more. You were giving so much more. They didn't respect it. They didn't appreciate it. They didn't value it. They didn't do what they need to do to be deserving of it. It put you in a very bad space. You realized your worth. You realized what was fair. You started to move out of that. And then you were like, you know what? If this person can, if I do my work and they do their work, we can talk. I'm going to do my work regardless, because that can only benefit me. It can only help me. It can only, these two cards together, that's why I said, like, lots of energy here, because you are determined. Like you're ready, willing, and able to dive in and deal with things. You're having a lot of success and you're breaking free from things. And that's what's putting you in this place where you're like, look, you can keep up. You can catch up with me, but I'm going forward regardless. If you choose to stay here and you want to go back to this, right? Like you can't move on from it. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. I'm going to do what is best for me. I'm taking care of myself. I'm moving forward. I feel like you guys want me to pull a card. Here's what I'm going to do. This person, okay? I feel like a lot of you are just asking, like, well, are they going to do it? Are they going to do what they need to do? Let's see, okay? I'm just going to mix these cards. I mean, that card really wanted to come out. Let's see what this card is. Three of Cups, it's reversed. That would be a no. But let's put it back in there. We'll see if it wants to come out again. See what's going on with this person. Are they going to do the work that they need to do? Are they going to grow and expand? I'm going to do a blind cut. We have the Page of Swords. I don't know. I'll say with that Three of Cups, probably not. They're probably not going to do what they need to do. This Page of Swords here, they're watching you. They're really watching you closely, even if you don't know it. They have people who are keeping them informed of what's going on with you, for sure. So if you wondered if that person had totally detached, they have not. They're keeping pretty close tabs on what's happening with you, even if they're not communicating with you. They're watching. They're watching. I think that, I'll tell you intuitively what I'm feeling here. They know what you're doing. They know that they can see it because, again, they're watching and they're being informed. They don't feel like they can keep up. They don't feel like they're going to be able to go where you're going. Like, they don't feel that. It feels too big for them. It's too big of a stretch. Because, again, you're dealing with a page. This could be a situation where this is someone who is significantly younger than you, someone who has less experience than you in some way. Because I'm sensing that, like, they feel like you're already ahead of them. Like, you were already ahead of them in the past, and now you're going even further ahead, and they feel like they're being left behind, and they're watching what you're doing, and they don't have that confidence inside that they can keep up. And that's probably the best answer I can give you. Right now, that they're in a very, like, pessimistic energy. Their energy feels very pessimistic and not hopeful that they're able to keep up. But you can't worry about them, right? Like, you're doing what you need to do. You're putting yourself in a good spot. So focus on that instead. Okay. So group 3, I hope this helped. I hope those messages resonated. If they did, say hello in the comments, say group 3 and say hello. I would love to meet you. I'm just going to say bye to you guys because usually the other groups don't watch to the end. So bye to group 3. If group 1 and 2 happen to be here, bye to you as well. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. And take a minute, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up.